So now we're moving along into Chapter 9, Medieval Empires and Borderlands in the Latin West. And what you're going to see in this section, I'm going to use some of the PowerPoints, and I'm also going to, I decided to provide several videos, maybe a little bit more on this section, because I want you to be able to visualize more of what's happening here. It's funny, I will make a confession that as a history major, even, that was actually focused more on the Middle East in much of my studies, in the Far East even, that understanding Western Europe, even though that's my family heritage of all branches are basically Germanic, Celtic. That's in my family stock. But I never really understood or could conceptualize this part for some reason. And I think, it gets a little bit tricky, trying to understand Visigoths, Frankish Gaul, Anglo-Saxons. It's also kind of blending together. It's a little bit chaotic, it sounds like. I don't know. This was always a little hard for me to put together. And I've recently really been doing a lot of study on this time period and this, the creation of European nations, Western Europe. And there's so many things that I've been thinking about wanting to try to emphasize or talk about. The textbook does a great job. I actually like a lot of the parts that are being brought out, but I want you to be able to conceptualize more what we're dealing with. And so what I thought I'm going to do is I'm going to have some lectures which I'll pepper in with some documentaries and ultimately get us thinking about Ireland, Germany, and France, and how all of these things come into being and what this time period really means. Because now we're really getting ourselves grounded in the West as it gives itself birth to itself in this very kind of chaotic way. And the legacy of Rome now is going to come really into the fore. Okay, so some of the things we'll be addressing will be the birth of Latin Christendom, why it's called that. It's mentioned in the book. The Carolingians, invasions and recovery in the Latin West, and then the Crusades. Crusades are big. And that's one of the things I also want to talk about. Now, we just went over Islam and the spread of Islam and how it happened. This will all then make sense about what's going to be, coming to the fore in discussions. And this is important. Al-Qaeda even talked about their manifesto originally was about going against about the Crusaders, referring to modern West as Crusaders. So the Crusades are going to leave a huge impact on the perception of the Middle East on the West, and also on the West on the Middle East, and so forth. So that's going to be important. We're going to be talking about Germanic kingdoms on Roman foundations, and these are the ones that I want to help you visualize. Anglo-Saxon England, well, there's a small section here. It's very significant. What are we speaking? What are you hearing this lecture in? English coming from the Anglo. It's England, right? This is where we get English from. I played earlier a piece from Beowulf where you heard Old English, which you have to have translated. It's a whole different language. I have the Beowulf documentary that I posted, and like I said, I know you're already busy. It's an optional video to watch, but you'll be really enriched for it if you get a chance to, or at least put it on your to-do list in the future, okay? And then Frankish Gaul, Visigothic Spain, Lombard, Italy, all important. So I'm going to now switch gears. I'm going to put some documentaries up. You need to take notes on them. I'll get back and do some discussions on those. And then that's how I will do this section for this week.